Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news and transfer news update show. Also a little bit of a takeover news update show as well. And in today's show, we're going to be talking about all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates and more. We're going to be talking about Ten Hag. We're going to be talking about the Liverpool game. We're going to be talking about comments Pep Guardiola's made, who seems rattled by Ten Hag. There's a lot of news coming out from Frenkie de Jong, and that United have a better chance of signing Frenkie de Jong because of Casemiro, because of the positive vibe around United, and that Frenkie de Jong would be open to be playing with Casemiro, and that United are going to go all out, and Ten Hag will not give up, and he finally wants to get de Jong next summer. I do think the ball with that will lie on Barcelona's court. I do think this summer, if Barcelona decide to sell de Jong, from what we're hearing, de Jong could be more open to going to United with top four, playing next to Casemiro. What Ten Hag is doing. We'll get into that. But obviously the big news that's coming today, that Mason Greenwood looks like he's going to leave and go abroad. Now, we don't know if this will be a permanent move. We don't know if this will be a loan move. I think this will be a loan move. But lots of teams who's abroad, where their transfer market is still open, have inquired about taking Mason Greenwood on loan. And you know what? I think this would be a really smart decision from United, because if you let Greenwood go out on loan now, that dampens any news. We know Greenwood's not going to come back till the summer anyway. But if you let him go out on loan now, that dampers any news of, oh, is he going to come back? Is he going to train? Is he not? Like, puts him out of the Manchester United eye if he goes out on loan. If he goes abroad, it's some countries, what he's done is not as bad as it is in this country, as bad as that sounds, what he's allegedly done. Abroad, they won't know as much about him as we will. It'll be a fresh start. I'll be honest, we'll talk about the Greenwood moving abroad thing. I think it's smart, because I think he gets abroad, he gets playing football again, he gets used to playing football again, because at the end of the day, if he is going to come back for United, and I'm not saying I want him and he is going to come back for United, but if Man United do decide to keep him and play him again, this is from two perspectives. From a moral perspective, it's better for him to go out on loan and sort of like then just sell him. But if he is going to come back, if he goes out low and gets that playing experience, and it's going to take him a good couple of months to get back into the swing of things, and also see is he still the same player after what's gone on, because there'll be a lot of psychological damage there as well. I do think if I was United, I'd let Greenwood go. I think I would let him go. I don't know if they'll sell him. I don't know if it'd be a loan, but at least let him go on loan abroad. If people want him abroad, people want him abroad. I think that's what United should do. But we'll talk about the Greenwood situation, the club that's made offers for him, what's happening, if it's reliable sources or not, the likeliness of him leaving, all that in a second. Some more news on Qatar. People in Qatar have spoken about the takeover. We also know the Rain Group has sent Qatar a message with a price tag. More news on de Jong, more news on United going for Lavia of Southampton if they get relegated, more news on Jude Bellingham, some really interesting statistics on Ten Hag, and we'll talk about the Liverpool game. So, action-packed show today, lots to talk about, so please do smash that like button, and of course subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new, if you do want to stay up to date with all the news. Harry Kane and de Jong in the summer, I generally think that's what Ten Hag wants. I think Kane would be stupid to stay at Spurs, because Spurs, this was a really easy route for Spurs to win a trophy. I was thinking this is like a really good opportunity for Tottenham Hotspur to win a trophy in the FA Cup. I thought they've only got to beat Sheffield United, and then they'll have someone like Blackburn, and then it'll be Man City or Man United that they could beat in a one-off game. We know Spurs always get a win over Man City. I generally thought if I was a Spurs fan, I would have generally wanted the FA Cup this season, because they haven't won a trophy in so long, and I thought the FA Cup was quite open this season, and Spurs do the most Spursy thing ever, and they go and lose to Sheffield United. They're absolutely embarrassing. They don't know how to win a trophy. And if Harry Kane wants to sign a new contract to play at Spurs, so be it. You've been there a while. I know you love Spurs. I know you're a Spurs boy, but you wanted to move to Man City not that long ago. Two years ago, he was trying to force a move out, and now we might sign a new contract. You get more money at United. I generally don't believe that Harry Kane's number one priority is to sign a new contract at Spurs. I generally think if Spurs do not qualify for the Champions League this season, Man United do, and Ten Hag makes a push for Harry Kane, I believe United will get Kane. If Ten Hag really makes a push to sign Harry Kane, and if Spurs do not qualify for the Champions League, I do think United will get Kane. Now, I have a feeling Spurs could qualify for the Champions League. I think Arsenal and City, they're qualified. I think United should qualify. I do worry with the lack of depth and us falling off, but United should qualify. I think that fourth spot seems to be between Newcastle, Liverpool, and Spurs. Obviously, Liverpool emerging, really going in for that sort of fourth spot there. Now, obviously, we can ruin Liverpool's party. I've seen Liverpool fans going, we're back to sixth now with that win. big win over Man United at the weekend, and look, we're back on track for top 4. Liverpool need 3 points massively, and Liverpool don't like to lose to United, so it's really important we beat Liverpool, because I think if we beat Liverpool, that is our top 4 pretty much sealed, to the extent of, as long as nothing drastic happens to Casemiro or Rashford or Bruno, I think United have pretty much got top 4. But I think that Liverpool will be a tough game. But I said this in my 5 things we learned earlier. At the moment, Erik Ten Hag can't stop winning. Like I feel like all Erik Ten Hag does is win at the moment. He can't stop winning. Even versus West Ham, I don't think United was that good versus West Ham. I thought for the first 45 minutes of the game, West Ham were the better team. Ten Hag made some subs. I didn't think we were brilliant. In the last 10 minutes, we switched it on and we showed up. And it's like Ten Hag doesn't lose. We're going to look at the statistics here on the screen, but Ten Hag does not lose. He does not lose at all. I mean, look, most goals since the World Cup from substitutes. Most goals from substitutes this season. Out of all the teams in Europe, Man United have got substitutes that scored 20 goals for them. Now, do you know what that tells us about Ten Hag? It tells us that he's a fantastic in-game manager. The fact that we've had the sub come off the bench and score 20 goals just shows how good the substitutes have been for United and how good Ten Hag's decision-making's been, because he's used his subs to win the game. He utilises his squad. He knows when to sub. He knows who to sub off. I remember the frustration with Ollie that the favourites would be playing shit week in, week out under Ollie, and someone could be good, and someone that was good because they weren't a favourite would get subbed off. Like, Ollie could have played Donny van der Beek, Fred, and Bruno, and Fred could have put in an absolute 1 out of 10, and Donny could be playing a 10 out of 10 game, and it would be Donny that had been pulled off for the sub. But Ten Hag knows, it's not about favouritism, it's about who's having the most impact on this game. Ten Hag loves Anthony, but he took Anthony off at half-time and not Garnacho, because he saw the impact Garnacho could have in the second half. Garnacho got a goal. He brought Fred on in the second half because when Fred's next to Casemiro, he's unlocked, and Fred got a goal. Erik Ten Hag is a fantastic man manager. Erik Ten Hag is absolutely fantastic man manager. He knows when to make the subs, and there's a reason United have got the most goals from substitutes, and that's because Ten Hag just wins. Ten Hag knows how to win. Winning is in his blood. Ten Hag, for me, is just an absolute winning manager. Really good decision-making skills and more. Rob said Erik Ten Hag has beaten Klopp twice since being appointed. Exactly. Both times we played Liverpool, we've beaten Liverpool. And yes, Liverpool have got a win. Yes, Liverpool are looking better. And yes, Manchester United are absolutely knackered. But as Rob said, like every time Manchester United have played Liverpool, they've beaten them. Guys, please do smash that like button, and of course subscribe down below to not Manchester United, to Alice Talks Football if you're new. We've got a few stories to get into. We will be talking about Frenkie de Jong, which I'm sure you guys aren't interested in, but we'll talk about that later in the show because some interesting news has come out on de Jong. But going back to Ten Hag, he's beaten Klopp twice. He's beaten Pep. He's beaten Arteta. He's beaten Conte. He's beaten Xavi. I think Liverpool's going to be a big test, but I know that Ten Hag, he's a big game manager. I know that Man United at the moment, even when they've not been playing great in a lot of games, they've still been winning. It's like Leicester in the first half were shit, in the second half were brilliant. Leeds in the first half were shit, the second half were brilliant. Or it's the other way around. We're good in the first half, we're shit in the second half, like we were against Newcastle, but we didn't need to be good. We just needed to defend well. Erik Ten Hag is just getting wins. And do you know what a sign is? If a team's going somewhere, if you're building a team that's going to win titles, if you're building a team that's going to win trophies, it's having the ability to win even when you don't dominate the game, even if you're not creating chance after chance, even if you're not the better team, even if you're not at your best, the ability to win. And we've seen that with Arsenal this season. They're top of the league. Arsenal have had games where they haven't been that good and they've got that scrappy goal at the end. And that's what I'm seeing in this Ten Hag Man United side, that Man United are finding a way to win, even when they're not at their best. Even when, they seem to look like they're struggling a bit, United are continually finding a way to win. And I love Ten Hag for that. He's an absolute winning manager. He's Ten Hagson. I have to say, I was so annoyed Wolves didn't beat Liverpool as well. So annoyed. And if we could have beat Barcelona in such a stellar performance, Liverpool could be a walk in the park. Exactly. I think Liverpool, because it's Anfield, because it's Man United, they'll be up for the occasion. It will be a difficult game. But I still think we'll go in there and we'll beat Liverpool as well. Man United need to aim for at least second after yesterday. The title ceremony gone so second would be a good start from scratch. Yeah, I mean, look, if we get second, it'd be a fantastic season. At the end of the day, look, I'd love to win the Premier League. We're not going to win the Premier League. Arsenal are too far ahead. But, from where Manchester United were last season, from how far Manchester United were off anything from last season, I never thought we were going to get top 4. Like, I don't think many of you guys thought that. Tell me this. When we beat Brentford 4-0, when we beat, I wish we beat Brentford. When Brentford beat Manchester United 4-0, did any of you guys sit there and go, you know what, people, Ten Hag's going to get top 4? No. We were like, this is going to be a long season. It's going to be a stressful season. I know we've lost 4-0 to Brentford, but we need to stay behind Ten Hag, gets the players. It's probably going to be a 6th or 7th place season. Not one of us expected that we were just going to go and boom, like literally boom, and then just start winning and winning and winning. Like we've not, unless I'm missing something, we've not lost a game since the World Cup, have we? Let's have a look. I don't think we've lost a game since the World Cup. I think our last loss would have been Aston Villa. Unless I'm missing like a really obvious loss, I think the last game United lost to Aston Villa. Look, win, 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 draw, win, draw, win, 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 win. Loss. Oh, Arsenal. We've lost one game, and that was Arsenal top of the league, and we didn't have Casemiro. Draw, win, 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 win against Wolves. Look, I mean, look, since Brentford, look at these results. You know, we started the season 2-1 loss to Brighton, 4-0 loss to Brentford. And when we lost this game 4-0 to Brentford, we generally thought the season was over. 35 minutes in, we were 4-0 down. Like, we generally thought the season was over. Everyone was thinking, oh, I bet Eriksen wishes he went to Brentford now. Brentford are better than United. We all thought the season was over. And we scrolled back down. United haven't lost many games since Brentford. Look at this here. Since Brentford, win, 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 win. Then with that Europa League again, that was bullshit. Another win. Then we lost. A win, a win, a win, a draw, a win, a draw, a win, a win, a win, loss, win. And then obviously win, and then the World Cup happens. And then obviously all these wins since the World Cup. Like, what Ten Hag's done since Brentford, the turnaround's been absolutely incredible. And I do think this Liverpool game will be a big game. Liverpool have got a higher win probability, according to the odds, that Liverpool are more likely to win this game. And I guess they're taking into account Liverpool's home advantage. The belief is that Liverpool will win this game. But, you know, I trust Ten Hag's Reds. I think Anfield's always hard. United don't win at Anfield. But I think with the way we're playing, you know, two wins. We've beaten Barcelona. We've won an FA. We've won a Carabao Cup. You know, yes, United are exhausted, but I think the mentality and confidence and momentum we're going to get from that Barcelona win, from the FA Cup, will surely give us the confidence going to Anfield. The fact that Ten Hag's already beaten Klopp twice this season will give us, hopefully, the confidence. But Liverpool at Anfield will be a tough game, because if Liverpool win, they do go 7 points behind us, which, you know, they won't be far behind us. But obviously, if we win, we go to 52 points and we go 8 points off top. So if we win, we're 8 points off top. 3 points behind Manchester City, and Manchester United are in a really good place if they win, because Arsenal and Man City still have to play each other, so we could be 5 points off top if Arsenal drop more points, and Arsenal do have a difficult fixture list. Not that I think we're going to win the league, but I also think a win here would have put us on to, what, as I said, 52 points. I think, you know, that would put us a good 7 points clear and goal difference in the race for top 4. That would mean we'd have to drop at least 7 points if we beat Newcastle. So if we beat Liverpool, and considering that we'd already played Liverpool, Man City and Arsenal twice, if we beat Liverpool, and we've got to drop 7 points, and, you know, our toughest games coming up are going to be Chelsea, who's crap, and Spurs, who just lost to Sheffield United, I think it would be safe to say that United will probably get top 4. Obviously, we've got games like Fulham, Brighton and Brentford. I think those 3 teams will give us difficult games. But as I said, Ten Hag can't stop winning. You know, Southampton to go, Bournemouth to go, Everton to go. I'm sure we'll win those games. West Ham, I think we'll beat, if with our strongest lineup. Wolves, I think we'll beat again. Leicester, we've beat. Forest, we always seem to just rattle over. You know, already played Crystal Palace. I think Aston Villa, Brentford, Brighton, Fulham could be difficult games. But I think United are in a very good place regarding top 4. And I do fancy United versus Liverpool. But I've always said I think Liverpool will give United a tough game. They always do at Anfield as well. Man United's problems last year being clinical and scoring past teams. Now Man United score every game. I think we have scored. Let's have a look. I think we're the only team that scored every game since the World Cup. Did you know no team has scored more goals than United post World Cup? Did you know Fred? Here's a statistic for you. Fred has scored more goals than Chelsea since the World Cup. Look, 3 goals, 2 goals, 2 goals, 3 goals, 2 goals, 2 goals, 2 goals, 2 goals, 2 goals, 3 goals, 3 goals, 2 goals, 1 goal, 2 goals, 3 goals, 3 goals, 3 goals, 1 goal, 3 goals, 2 goals. See that since the World Cup, scoring in every single game. Since Villa scored 3 goals again. 4 goals, 3 goals. Look at this. The last time we didn't score in a match, the last time Man United didn't score in a match was Newcastle 0-0, where we were so close to scoring. That was we could have won that game as well. I thought with a better team. Yeah, like other than Newcastle, I think that the only other time we haven't scored was Brentford. I think there's only 2 games Man United haven't scored in all season, and that was Brentford at the start of the season and Newcastle. They can't stop scoring. And what I'll do is actually, I'll bring you back to the Twitter, and I'll show you. I think goals, Fred. I'll see if I can find it. I'll make you laugh. Fred has 6 goal contributions, which is very good. I'm trying to see if they can. Fred Chelsea. I want to show you this. I mean, look at other teams. I can find it. Is it going to come up? Since November, Fred has 6 goals. Chelsea has 6 goals. I think that's an absolute madness. Guys, please keep smashing the like button, and of course subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. This will be Eric's 3rd win over Klopp if you can get it. Tuchel got sacked. Didn't Tuchel got sacked a while ago? Do you mean has Moyes got sacked? Check Sky. Moyes has got sacked. Has Moyes been sacked, people? I'm so behind. Has Moyes been sacked? Has Moyes been sacked? Have United gone and got Moyes sacked? Are you sure? Is this a rumour, or has Moyes actually just been sacked? Moyes. Let me see if Moyes has been sacked. I don't think he has been sacked. Moyes sacked. Let me Google it. Has Moyes been sacked? It's can't here. David Moyes leaves West Ham. Is that new? Is it clickbait? I don't think he has been sacked. I don't think Moyes has been sacked. I think that looks like clickbait. I don't think Moyes has been sacked. Have I just been pranked here? Or am I like, this is not coming up anywhere for me that Moyes has been sacked. He might be getting sacked, but he's not been sacked unless I think someone's got put some fake news out there. I was going to say I would have been shocked if he was sacked. I think that he's been close to getting sacked, but I think they backed him in January. They have to go with Moyes now as well. Again, yeah, no one. Okay, it's not just me. No one else can find it. I've been pranked, haven't I? I've been pranked. Moyes isn't getting sacked as well. No, I've just been pranked by you guys. Yeah, we'll talk about Greenwood potentially leaving as well. Fenerbahce have inquired about Greenwood some days ago. Would be a good move away from all going on. I think Fenerbahce would be a really good move for Greenwood. I think it'd be a good move for United, good move for Greenwood, probably a good move for them as well. But as said, Fred is prolific. He's impressive as well. If Mason Greenwood's allowed to go, I'll officially establish that Man United is an effing coward. Let the lad continue to play for the club he loves. But you don't know he'll be the same player. Even if you do feel like Greenwood should come back and play for United, yeah, I think it would be good to let him go out on loan so you can actually gauge, has he mentally lost it? Has he stayed fit? Is he the same level he was meant to be as well? I think, Greenwood, the club don't want Greenwood coming back this season because they don't want him to interrupt the dressing room, because some fans don't feel comfortable and some players don't feel comfortable Greenwood coming back. So if we're doing really well in the dressing room and the atmosphere at United's good, United don't want to risk bringing back Greenwood, so they would wait till the summer as well. But I've absolutely been trolled. Moyes hasn't been sacked as well. Apparently someone said, but I can't find it. Yeah, someone's full on pranked me that Moyes had been sacked as well. So yeah, Marcus is awesome. He's one of the best in the world. We'll talk about how fantastic Marcus Rashford is. But I'm trying to find how many goals United scored post-World Cup compared to other teams, but I can't find it, if I'll be honest. And no, he's not been sacked as well. Any update on the sale of the club? We'll get into that. So we'll get into the Qatar updates, I guess, because I feel like everyone here is more interested in what Qatar is doing than Jim Ratcliffe's doing. So Laurie Whitwell put out a report today, and he said the sense that Sheikh Yassim plus Qatar will not overpay for Manchester United is detailed in this read on those talks about a takeover more than a decade ago, and that the Rangers set a target price of $6 billion for United, but the Saudis don't want to overpay. It was also said there's an offer from Sheikh Yassim to buy Manchester United, and obviously Shafi's been praising him, but if we look at the latest stuff that's kind of come out on Qatar, it's more Laurie Whitwell's report about Qatar. And then I kind of did a video this morning on Qatar saying that one feeling is Qatar will ultimately pay what it takes to buy United. Now, I will get this up if I can find it, but the price of United's been set at $6 billion. And if I can find the news, there was a story about Qatar that I think came out like an hour ago, but I can't remember if it is about Qatar. There was a story about Man United doing something. But this was the Greenwood news. We'll get this up. So we'll talk about Greenwood, and we'll get into the news when I can find it. So Regarding Mason Greenwood, he's got an offer from Fenerbahce as well. But yeah, nothing on Sky Sports about Moyes being sacked. And as Daniel said, Sky Sports One Football, yeah, they're the ones I look at as well. Twitter, you know what I'll say? I normally look at Twitter at first because Twitter's where the news breaks. And then it's often on Sky Sports after. Like Twitter, you can get your Romano notification, you can break the news. And then I always look at Sky and stuff as well. But as Daniel said, hopefully Qatar can complete the takeover from you guys as possible, but Glazer's being stubborn. Yeah, but this is the problem with the takeover. This is the problem with the takeover, is the Glazers are being stubborn. So the Glazers are looking at Manchester United, they're looking at Ten Hag, and they're seeing that Ten Hag's doing a fantastic job and United are playing well again. I'll tell you something about Manchester United. When Manchester United start playing well, they make more money. The value of the club goes up. Our price on the stock market is low when we're shit, and our price on the stock market when we're doing well, when the fans are happy, it's a lot higher. And the Glazers know that, and I think, well, Ten Hag's won a trophy. They're playing really well. You know, we could get if we get a minority investment here, it could be worth it, because if Ten Hag's the next Fergie, basically, the Glazers want Fergie back. They want Ten Hag to be this re-envisioned Fergie. The Glazers want a manager that will consistently get Man United top 4 and competing for trophies without them having to spend a lot. They obviously have to spend a lot in his first 2 seasons, but they want a manager. 5 years down the line, we'll be giving Ten Hag a 30 million net spend in the summer, and he'll be doing something like Fergie does. You know, they brought Fergie, Gabriel, Overton, and a dead Michael Owen with one leg, and Fergie could still make miracles happen. Fergie won the league with Cleverley and Anderson in midfield. That's like winning the league with Fred in midfield, and Fred's good, but fucking hell, McTominay. Alex Ferguson was a miracle worker, and I think the Glazers are looking at Ten Hag and gone, fuck, if he's got this lot. 8 points off top of the league if they win their game in hand. If he's got this lot, winning a trophy, beating Barcelona, looking like they're going to go far in all competitions, the guys will look at this and go, this Ten Hag guy who lost 4-0 to Brentford is now doing a madness. Like, imagine what he could do next season. I think the Glazers realise this Ten Hag special. They've hit the goal. They've hit the jackpot with Ten Hag. I think the Glazers look at that and go, yeah, you know what, this Ten Hag guy, he's legit. And that worries me in the sense that the Glazers might go, you know what, the sale was meant to be done by the end of March. The Rain Group was meant to get, close the bidding. The second round should be going on as we speak. It's not. And the sale was meant to be done by the end of March. And Qatar still believe the sale will be done by the end of March. But it seems that the Glazers have told the Rain Group to delay it, because I think the Glazers are going, you know what, we were going to get a full sale, but Ten Hag's doing well. It could be worth staying. Or it could be a big fat negotiation tactic from the Glazers to go, you know what, Qatar really want United, and they've offered me 4.5 billion. We know Qatar can give us the 6 billion we want. We know how desperate they are for United, but we've got to play hardball. We've got to play this negotiation game, and they could be dragging it out. And I think that's the worrying thing with the takeover as well. I'm just gonna have a quick sip of water. So do hit that like button while you're waiting. But yeah. Fucking hell, I can't get the lid back on my water bottle there. I don't want to spill it everywhere. I don't know why. I don't know if it's me, but when I buy a bottle of Coke, the lids always break now. I don't know if they're just making shit lids. Maybe that's just me. Anyway, that won't stop a loan spell. That'll follow Greenwood for life. Away fans will not let that go. I mean, yeah, we'll talk about the Greenwood stuff because I wanted to get into that. I think Greenwood going abroad, he's still going to get shit like that for the rest of his life. And honestly, I'll tell you this now about Greenwood. If he comes back to United, he will get shit from the fans, especially the away fans. I've been to a United game since the Greenwood thing went on, and I've seen away fans chant, "She said no, Mason. She said no." Imagine what they'd be saying if he's on the pitch. And also, like, a lot of the Man United fans won't be sticking up for him. They won't be behind him. People can look at this and go, Thomas Partey's playing as if nothing happened, and yeah, he is. And I have to say, the only bit of sympathy I will have with Greenwood on this situation, because one, we don't know what's gone on, and there is the chance that this could have been role play and the audio recordings could have been manipulated, and someone's I don't know someone's used it as blackmail or something. I don't know, but I don't know. We don't actually know what's gone on with Greenwood and Harriet. We know they're back together. We know they're having a kid, and it's either she's having a kid with the man that's abused her, or he's having a kid with the woman that's tried to put up stuff and ruin his football career. But we don't know what's happened, and that's going to follow Greenwood for the rest of his life. But the one bit of sympathy I have for Greenwood is that Arsenal pretended that nothing happened with Thomas Partey, and Thomas Partey plays week in, week out, and he gets a bit stick here and there, but nothing compared to the level of Greenwood. Other football players are playing. I think the Greenwood thing went so public, so much was on the internet, and because he's English and because he's Man United, it gets a lot more attention. You know, the media are more interested in the Greenwood case because he was an England player. He was a young England star who plays for United. He gets more interactions, and I think the level of what came out, like there was proof for Thomas Partey that was disgusting. Benjamin Mendy's one was kept quiet, but I think because Greenwood's all came out, there's a lot of attention on it. And you could say, oh, but Thomas Partey plays again and all of that. But I do think if Greenwood put a shirt on for United, it would be not a nice environment in the stadium. And I do think wherever he goes, he will get that. But I do think the best thing for Greenwood is to go on loan. The best thing United can do is let Greenwood go on loan for the rest of the season, see how he does on loan, assess how he does on loan, see how the crowds react to him going on loan and all of that, because he's back with Harriet. He's been cleared of all charges. At the end of the day, where people won't feel comfortable with Greenwood playing again, and that's understandable. But at the end of the day, we don't know what's happened. We've heard horrible audio notes, and that sounds absolutely disgusting. But he's not been charged. He's not, just because he's not been charged doesn't mean he's not guilty. But it doesn't also mean he's guilty. We don't know what's happened. But he's allowed to play again. He's legally allowed to play football again. He's legally allowed to play football for United next season. And he might play football for United next season because he's a good young striker. Because United might go, well, look what Arsenal have done with Partey. He might. So I think the best thing that United can do is let him go out on loan, see how he does in case they do decide to take him back, but also look at the reaction to him going out on loan. Look at how, in Turkey where the shit didn't go down, how the fans feel about it, It's not our problem if we send it out on loan, and we can deal with it in the summer because we don't want to be dealing with it now. We've got bigger things to achieve. And if I was United, if Greenwood goes out on loan and has a good loan, I would just sell him and get money for him because I think United have got this far without Greenwood this season under Ten Hag. And the reason I wouldn't bring Greenwood back at United is, one, a lot of people will be upset about it. Two, the audio notes can't be unheard. But three, we've got this far without Greenwood. Could he disrupt the dressing room? I think United need to look at this from a business perspective, and I think they'll probably sell Greenwood. Unless he goes on loan, he's fantastic, and Ten Hag's like, that's the striker I want. But I do think if players don't want Greenwood, if fans don't want Greenwood, and he's legally can play football again. His best move is to probably move abroad after what happened. And I think a loan move would be really good for Greenwood. If there's still a few loan markets open. I'll show you where Greenwood can move to actually. There's still a few loan markets open. I think I liked a tweet that shows where Greenwood can move to as well. And obviously, as per statement, when the CPAS drop the charges, they will conduct its own process before determining next steps. United obviously going to plan what they're going to do with Greenwood, but I want to show you what can happen with Greenwood. There was if I can find it here. So these are all the clubs that Greenwood could go to, which is quite small. So he could go to Ethiopia, he won't. He could go to Bangladesh, he won't. He could go to Faroe Islands, he won't. He could go to Nigeria, he won't. Singapore, Maldives, he won't. Potentially could go to Korea. There's an okay league in Korea. Tajikistan, Philippines, Moldova, Belarus, he won't. Kyrgyzstan, he won't. Potentially Norway, potentially Japan, potentially Iceland. But I think he would go to a league where it's got a somewhat level. But they're thinking of basically a loan move as well. He's had loan inquiries, but the belief is he's very likely to go to Turkey. And I think, as I've said, I think that's just the best thing you can do. Let him go to Turkey, get him out of our ears, see how he does on loan, and make a decision about him in the summer as well. Because it's not a nice situation, and some people want him back, some people don't want him back. Legally, if he comes back, people aren't going to be happy about it, but United can do that as well. Fatty says Greenwood's a dirty rat and she is a disgrace to women that are going through domestic abuse. The thing is, we could say that from an outside perspective, but we just don't know what happened. You look at it and you go, why? If he's done that to her, why has she gone back to him? But it's so common because people kind of look at things in that situation and say, when it's good, it's amazing, but when it's shit, it's shit. But they still chase that high. And for me, I think either way, one of them's ruined each other's life. Either she's faked that and ruined his career and he's gone back to her, or he's ruined her life and done what we all think he's done to her and she's gone back to him. And we can't have a go at her for going back to him because we see it happen time and time again. And none of us know what happened, but I always think it's a very common thing for people to go back to them. And I've never been in that situation, so I don't know what it's like for them. So I always just sit there and go, you know what, they're having a kid, I'm not going to judge. My general opinion is whatever makes them happy. If she's happy, if he's happy, if the kid's happy, that's the most important thing. We don't know what's gone on. I don't like what I think's gone on, but no one knows for sure what went down as well. Greenwood should sign for Arsenal. We'd fit in there with Partey, wouldn't he, as well? But anyway, keep smashing the like button and, of course, subscribe down below I was talking with you. He can't ever play for United again. We're too prestigious. Sack him, says Adam. And I don't think United will bring him back, if I'm being honest. I don't. I think United will look at this and look at the sponsorships and look at how the fans feel and look at how the players feel. And I've always said I don't think United will bring him back. And personally myself, I'd sell him. I'd sell him in the summer. I'd send him out on loan, see if we can get a bit more money for him and sell him in the summer. I think, we're doing fine without him, as I've said. I think Ten Hag's got a second without him. If he comes back, you don't know if he's going to be the same player. People aren't going to be happy. Fans aren't going to be happy. It could disrupt the dressing room. For me, he could. I think he's got the potential to be absolutely world class, and I think he's everything we need. We need a clinical striker like that, and I think he would have been fantastic under Ten Hag. I think he would have been absolutely fantastic under Ten Hag, but I don't think it's worth the risk of bringing him back as well. He's having a child. He isn't moving. I see him waiting it out. I think he just wants to play football. He's reportedly getting fed up at United. Reportedly, Greenwood's getting annoyed at United for, kind of shutting him out and doesn't like how they've treated him, reportedly as well. But anyway, keep smashing the likes, keep subscribing. I want to get into a few more stories as well. I'm just scrolling down the chat as well. Yeah, and as this was a good one, whatever happens in someone's bedroom, no one can ever know the entire truth. We never know the entire truth as well. But he raps United to public opinion matters, which is true. If people don't want him there, if the public don't want him there, and he's representing United, it's not a good image for United as well. And Mason is such a waste of talent. Shame. The one player I'm sad to lose if sold is Wan-Bissaka. A good man, a very good player, and I hope he's persuaded to stay. Well, Wan-Bissaka is one of the 7 players that Ten Hag is looking to sell, which I find surprising. Thank you very much for the super chat. It's just a high school mess up. He has to earn for kid. It's just a messy situation. They're young. When you're young, I don't know. It's like we just don't know. It's a weird. It's like it's not my place to judge. If they're having kids and they're happy, that I think that's the most important thing. But it is a weird situation because when you look at it, it's either she's having a kid with a man that's abused him and done absolutely horrible, vile things allegedly, or he's having a kid with the girl that put that on social media and ruined his life because if he didn't do it, then she's lied. So it's one of those. It's you look at it and you think I'm glad I ain't involved in that mess, but we just don't know. And I think the most important thing is they're happy, the kid comes out happy, and they have a happy life and a happy family and a happy kid. That's probably the best thing that can happen from now on. And she's obviously, at the end of the day, she's obviously forgiven him if he has done what he's done, which is a big thing. And I wouldn't forgive someone if they'd done that to me, but we just don't know. But I want to talk about something a bit nicer because I feel like I'm fed up with this chat with him because I'm just saying that at the end of the day, I don't know. I heard what I heard. The audio notes can't be unheard. The audio notes were vile, and I think it's best for United to get rid of him. But as I said, we don't know. It's not my place to judge. But what we do know is that Ten Hag loves fucking Frenkie de Jong. What we really do know is that Ten Hag loves de Jong. And there was said new. Ten Hag has made Frenkie de Jong one of Manchester United's top targets. Ten Hag hopes the Old Trafford feel-good factor as United beat Barcelona will help persuade him to join. So basically, Ten Hag wants de Jong. De Jong is number 1 target, and the feeling is that de Jong to United is much more likely to happen because of obviously the feel-good factor. The article also spoke about Casemiro, how Casemiro, de Jong would be open to playing next to him. Basically, Ten Hag wants to sign de Jong in the summer. Will Man United finally sign de Jong in the summer? I don't know. Couldn't tell you that because I thought we were going to sign him last summer. We didn't. I think this summer, if United go in for de Jong with Champions League football, with this good season that they're having, and Barcelona say to de Jong, you've got to go for financial issues, I do think that we could get de Jong over the line. I do think that de Jong didn't want to come because we didn't have Champions League football, but I think he didn't want to come because he loved Barcelona and he wanted his money. I do think if Barcelona start trying to kick him out again this season, which I don't know if they will because he's been playing a lot more for Barcelona, he's been vital for Barcelona, but they need to raise money, we could potentially get him. So United will go in for Frenkie de Jong. We know that Frenkie de Jong's Ten Hag's number 1 target. We know Frenkie de Jong we know that Ten Hag wants to finally sign Frenkie de Jong this summer. This is his dream. This is his dream player to go next to Casemiro. Ten Hag feels, and Man United feel, that because of the feel-good factor at Old Trafford, because of Casemiro, because of top 4, it's more likely. But again, I think with de Jong, it's one of those where we have to wait with new owners. I think we won't know about de Jong until May. Until the season's nearly over, I don't think we'll know about de Jong. I think it's one of those where we're going to have to really wait till May. But there's a lot of reports coming out saying their chances are a lot higher and Frenkie would be more open to the move because of obviously how United have been. It was also said as well, which I kind of spoke about, that the prospect of partnering Casemiro, Manchester United's midfield, is said to be an attractive proposition for Frenkie de Jong, particularly with United on course to Champions League qualification. They're basically saying that because, you know, Casemiro has been brilliant and United qualifying for the Champions League, like Frenkie de Jong starting to look at the potential United move and go, you know what? You know, Champions League, play with Casemiro, what Ten Hag's done at United. Frenkie de Jong starting to look at this United move and go, you know what? There's something attractive about this. There's something interesting about this, which has put, obviously, United in a better position to sign de Jong. But I still think if Barcelona want to keep him and play him, he'll stay. If Barcelona decide they need to sell him, they want to raise the finances, I think he will go as well. Someone said, Alice, who does Ten Hag want to sell? So Ten Hag reportedly wanted to sell 7 players. We spoke about that in my match reaction yesterday. I'll get that up for you. It was McTominay, it was Maguire, and we'll put Ten Hag in there. I'll see if I can find the post on Twitter. I'm just trying to search in the keywords. I don't know if I'll find the post. Trying to see if I can find what I'm looking for. One sec. Someone posted the list of the names. It came from. Did it come from the Metro? It came from the Metro. A list of 7 names. There it is. Here it is. Is this it? This is the 4th of February. But this is very similar names. So it was said that Ten Hag is ready to make space for big new arrivals in the summer by selling Maguire, by Telles, Scott McTominay, Donny van der Beek, and Anthony Martial. And Wan-Bissaka was also added to this list. There was a new list that came out last week or yesterday with Wan-Bissaka on. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players are identified for sale. Now we know that Maguire is very likely to go. We know that McTominay is very likely to go. We know that Bailly will be gone. We know that Telles will be gone because there's no need. And I think Donny and Martial are 2 players that haven't been available enough this season, haven't done enough to impress Ten Hag, and they're ones that might potentially go. I think Maguire will go. I generally think Maguire's going to go. I generally think McTominay is going to go. I think Bailly, Telles will go. And I think Donny and Martial might stay. They might go. It depends on injuries. And reportedly, we're looking to sell Wan-Bissaka, which I think is interesting because I actually think Wan-Bissaka has been very good lately. And I think as a backup right back, Wan-Bissaka is a good option. I know he's not a Ten Hag player. I know Wan-Bissaka doesn't play the style of play that Ten Hag wants to play. And I know Wan-Bissaka isn't as attacking and, you know, as easy on the eye as Ten Hag wants in a right back. But I think like that cup win versus Newcastle, going up against St Maximin, Wan-Bissaka can deal with it. I think to have as an option on the bench, I think Wan-Bissaka is perfect for United because if they do come across a tricky winger, I think Wan-Bissaka is a very good second choice right back. And I do argue that Wan-Bissaka post World Cup, in my opinion, has been better than Dalot post World Cup, in my opinion, if I'm being honest as well. Imagine a De Jong, Casemiro midfield. I mean, that'd be fantastic. Considering Casemiro and Bruno have never lost a game they started together. Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes have never lost a game for Manchester United that they've started together. Imagine De Jong in that midfield. Now, I like Eriksen, I like Sabitzer, but De Jong is a different gravy. De Jong is a different level. De Jong, Casemiro, Bruno. That midfield is unstoppable. And that is what Ten Hag wants. And that is what Ten Hag's dreaming of. That is what the news is saying. Ten Hag is determined to get De Jong. He finally wants to sign De Jong. That is his dream. And with Casemiro, with United playing better, Manchester United might actually look appealing for Frenkie de Jong. This might be the first time in a while where De Jong looks at a potential move to United and goes, you know what? I fancy that. And he would be absolutely unstoppable free. But obviously, you know, with United and transfers, we don't know what's going to happen until we really know the new ownership thing. But what we do know is we could get 25 million for Maguire. We could get 25 million for McTominay. That's 50 million. I think we could get 20 million for Dean Henderson. That's 70 million. I think Telles and Bailly would probably get us 10 million combined, which is 80 million. I think potentially Donny could get us 15 million. I think Donny could potentially raise that to 95 million. I think Martial, I think with his injury record, you could probably only get 15, 20 million for Martial max. I think these players that they want to sell, plus Dean Henderson, I think United could easily raise 120 million now. I think if United were good about it, they could get more than that. But United can get 25 million for Maguire and McTominay. They can get 50 million for Maguire and McTominay. And I reckon they could get 25 million for Dean Henderson because of his age, and that Ramsdale went for 30 million. So I think they could get 75 million for those 3. I think Bailly, Telles, Van der Beek, Martial, they could easily round that up to 100 million. United can make easily 100 million now. If they finish in the Champions League, they're going to bring in more money. Realistically, if the Glazers do stay, they can make money in outs. They'll bring in money for following the Champions League. The Glazers can spend, and United then would invest in a centre back because if Maguire leaves, they need a third centre back. I'm sure they'll invest in a DM. I'm probably getting Sabitzer on a permanent. And then they would basically, what United want is a Kane or an Oxenham up front, a Frenkie de Jong or a Bellingham in midfield, and then they want Sabitzer on a permanent just in case Donny goes, etc. Then they'll look at a Casemiro understudy, a second DM on the cheap from South America, hopefully to back up Casemiro if McTominay goes. Then they'd look at a centre back to go in and replace Maguire. I think that's what United's approach would be. That's what I would do if I was United this summer. I would sell Donny and I would sell McTominay in midfield. And I would bring Sabitzer on a permanent if he continues to play well, because he could play in that 10 role in that Donny position and be a good backup option. I would then look at going and getting a cheap DM from South America, like we almost did with Moises Caicedo, like what Benfica did. Look at Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. South America cheap, went to the clubs, fantastic. United need to find the next cheap Moises Caicedo or Enzo Fernandez in South America as a Casemiro understudy to work with Casemiro and turn it and be ready when Casemiro retires in a couple of years. Then United need to go for a big boy like De Jong, Bellingham. If they can't get them, I'd look at Max and Kakare or maybe Benacer. I think they would fit that role perfectly. And then obviously there's the big boy striker that United need, Oxenham, Kane, whoever Ten Hag wants. And then I think Maguire leaves and you get another centre back in because Varane gets injured and you can't be too reliant on Lindelof as well. Worst comes to worst, obviously Luke Shaw can play centre back as well. Vlahovic would be a good option as well. That's what I would do if I was United in the summer as well. I think Vlahovic would be a really good option for United as well. I think we're looking at him, but it seems that Oxenham and Kane are the favourites, but you don't know because we get all this Man United like Oxenham, Man United like Kane. But one, the transfer window hasn't opened, and two, we don't know who the owners are. So I don't think we're really going to know who Man United want until the summer. I think that, until we've got new owners sorted, I think that it will be United looking at Frenkie de Jong, Bellingham, and Kane and Oxenham. I think we know United want a striker and we know United want a midfielder, but we don't know who that'll be until we know if we're getting Champions League. So if we know if we're getting new owners or not, until who we sell. I think that would be on it as well. Value for money, De Jong is better than Bellingham. I think Bellingham could be one of the best players ever in future, and Bellingham's got that potential. But when you're looking at over 100 million for Bellingham and De Jong for 70 million, I think De Jong, he's established, he fits into that role right away. Bellingham, he would be much better in a more advanced 8 role as well, I think. So I do think for now, I think De Jong's, if Bellingham was 80 million, 100% I'd get Bellingham. But when you're talking about 150 million on one player, when United need to at least sign 3 positions, I ain't getting Bellingham. United potentially even looking at a goalkeeper as well. You're forgetting about Lindelof. He wanted to leave 6 months ago. I think he could still do so. Yeah, Lindelof could potentially leave. I think Ten Hag's managed him quite well, but I think one of Lindelof and Maguire will leave, but I think only one will be allowed to leave. But Lindelof and Maguire both got options, and Ten Hag said they can't stay in January. They have to stay in January because they've got little options as well. Thieving Glazers stole our money and bankrupted the club 100%. And do you know what's the annoying thing? Is Maguire and Lindelof both got options to leave Manchester United in January. United could have got 20 million for Lindelof and Maguire and used that and brought in a little striker or someone, or midfielder or someone to help Ten Hag out, but they didn't. And I think we can lose one of them, but not both of them. Someone says Alan Varela, definitely an option out there. I think just looking at those kind of, let's look at the Brazilian, Argentinian, Uruguayan leagues, see if we can find Ecuadorian league, even see if we can find that little gem who's maybe 20 that's really doing well in those South American leagues to come to United. Maybe they're only a £10 million player because we're going to go big on a De Jong, so we can't afford to sign another big DM. We can only sign one big midfielder like De Jong for 70 million, and we've only got 10 million left on midfield. You go for that Casemiro understudy, someone that's a good young CDM coming up. They work with Casemiro, they're moulded into the team. Ten Hag's very good with young players and moulding them in. And then you've got your long-term Casemiro replacement there if United are smart. I mean, I think Declan Rice would be fantastic, but I think Declan Rice is ready to leave West Ham this season. And I think we've got another 2 years with Casemiro at this level. I think we've got another 2. I almost think we've got to sign someone that in 2 years we want them to be the first choice DM for United. I don't think Declan Rice would want to be back up as well. But Sangare, I remember talking about Sangare. I haven't looked at loads of football abroad this season, but I do think there's some good DMs out there that United should have a look at as well. And some of our fans want Oxenham that will cost 120 mil. But he's been good this season. I think that he's a little inflated in price because Napoli played a lot for him, but he has been good this season. And I think if Ten Hag's making Weghorst look good, and Weghorst has been influential, I think imagine what Oxenham would do. I do think Kane would be really good for United. A lot of fans, a lot of you guys, you're not the biggest fan of Harry Kane to United, but I generally believe Harry Kane would be very good for United. I think he'd be like Casemiro. He'd have 1 or 2 seasons where he'd really good for United, then he fades off. But he's got an injury record. He doesn't win trophies. But I do think that Kane would be very good at United as well. We need 2 different midfielders, 1 striker, and a centre back on a 200 million budget. We can get all of those. Bellingham and Osimhen would cost 250 mil, which is true. We can't get all of those, which is true. But obviously we could raise maybe 100 million in sales. Also, Ten Hag reportedly potentially looking at a goalkeeper with David Raya being available for 15 million. Lee said he'd like De Jong, Sabitzer for 20 million, try for Tielemans, Aouar, free, although apparently he's going to Frankfurt and go for Vlahovic. Yeah, apparently he's rejecting United because he wants to go to Frankfurt. Who rejects United to go for Frankfurt? No one. You're just pretending that you rejected United to go to Frankfurt to try and maybe hurry up Frankfurt to get that deal sorted. Because Aouar will be available on a free. Aouar, however he says, and will be available on a free. Apparently he's turned United down to play for Frankfurt. No one turns down Erik Ten Hag's Man United to play for Frankfurt. Unless, he's worried about game time, then he's just a pussy hole. You don't. I think he's just saying that so we can get a better wage from Frankfurt. I think it's all fake news that he's turned down United to go to Frankfurt. I think it is as well. Steve's reminded me, FA Cup versus Fulham on the 18th of March before the international break, and then the FA Cup semi-April and final in June. So it can play their first competitive game in June. Yeah, big games coming up as well. Is the FA Cup semis in April, but the final is in June. So yeah, I mean, this is mad thing. We could be in an FA Cup final. We could be in a Europa League final. Madness. Big up Daniel saying Alice's Army. Do subscribe, guys, if you're new. I go live pretty much every single evening on the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, subscribe, because I do short videos in the morning where I just literally talk about the news. They're 10 minutes long. I talk about the news. I read out the news to you. And then I do live streams in the evening where I get into the news, but then we talk a bit more about the news. I answer your questions. We talk more about Ten Hag, rivals. We talk about general football news a little bit more and have more conversation-based stuff in the live streams in the evening. And then obviously we do also 10-minute videos to get straight to news. So if you want just news straight away, that's the videos. If you want more chit-chat, you've got the live streams. You've got a range of both. So subscribe for that as well. Ivan Tony, 30 million. The thing with Tony, if he's getting a 6-month ban, you don't want to buy him as well. But yeah, like Kane is very good. I know a lot of people don't want Kane because he's not Victor Osimhen. He's not young. He's not energetic, but he would be good for United. Yash says Rice better than De Jong. Very different profiles, but Rice is an absolute baller, isn't he, as well? I wouldn't pay too much money for Kane. I'd only get Kane if we could get one at a reduced price, which we won't because of Daniel Levy as well. Barella is a 21-year-old wonder kid from Boca Juniors, wanted by Newcastle Benfica. He's who I'd look at. You could probably get him for less than 15 million, and then he could be, he gets to work with Casemiro. Casemiro can speak fluent Spanish because he's Argentina, and help guide him through. And then you have someone coming in that can, when Casemiro's getting a bit old, you're like, okay, this guy's got it. Especially, and if you've got Ten Hag, you've got Casemiro guiding you, and you're already like a big thing in South America. It's a risk. Obviously, he might not be that good. But it's a risk worth taking as well. Andre from Flamengo, Brazil, was 21-year-old Casemiro understudy, and a lot of top clubs in Europe we should get rather than Rice. I do think because we've got a Casemiro and because we need someone to partner Casemiro more than a Casemiro, rotation option, United go big on a De Jong or Bellingham to go next to Casemiro, and they look at a young hidden gem abroad. 100% agree we should be looking at these hidden gems abroad. And United don't do that enough, in my opinion. And when we do it, we go and let Moises Caicedo go to Brighton because the Glazers thought, no, I want my 30 million in dividends instead of 26 million. I ain't paying 4 million on Caicedo because they're just knobheads. They're absolute knobheads, the Glazers as well. Diego Simeone is Chelsea's next manager. I mean, he's so boring. Chelsea, mate. Todd Boehly ain't got a clue. Todd Boehly loves football. He's got a lot of money. He wants Chelsea to do well. But Todd Boehly needs to go out there and get Paul Mitchell or Michael Edwards and actually get a proper director of football to make decisions, not him, because he's got all the money and he wants Chelsea to be great. But it's not all about spending the most money. Man City spent a lot of money. PSG spent a lot of money. Where's their Champions League? It's about building a team. Obviously money helps, but it's also about building a team. And I think Todd Boehly is a madman, an absolute madman. Vinicius Junior, Rashford, Rodrigo, imagine. Jeez, I'd like Vinny Jr. at United, although he's in the same position as Rashford. I'll tell you what, Real Madrid have done really well with their going, to Brazil and getting those young stars. I mean, they did spend 60 million on one of these young stars coming through, which is crazy. And they do overpay a little bit, but Vinicius Junior is class, isn't he? Yes, I would love Caicedo. He's a quality player and he suits Ten Hag's pressing system, and he's a big United fan. Exactly. Caicedo wanted to go to United. He would have chosen to go to United, but we couldn't pay 4 million for him as well. And Maino should be the understudy to Casemiro. No one better to learn. I agree, but I don't. So Maino, I think, is someone that we need to think about coming through. I think Maino is the future. Ten Hag clearly rates Maino. But Maino's not a DM. Maino's more of a playmaker. Maino, if you look at his passing ability, Maino for me reminds me more of a Pogba. Maino reminds me more of a Pogba than a Casemiro. And I'd be looking to play Maino next to someone like Casemiro. I think Maino is more that role next to Casemiro. So I would look at bringing Maino through and learning and growing through Maino. And obviously Ten Hag really rates Maino because he plays him quite a bit. Considering he's so young, he's 17, and he's taking him and talking to him at cup finals and really giving him his time. Ten Hag really rates Maino, but I don't think Maino is Casemiro's position. I know a lot of people talk about Maino being Casemiro's position, and maybe he could be moulded into a top DM, but I still see Maino as more of a box-to-box than a DM, in my opinion. I do. I see him more as a Pogba. And, you know, we always say Casemiro would have unlocked Pogba. Well, Casemiro's unlocked Fred. Fred's been brilliant next to Casemiro, and I think Maino would be like a Fred. Not saying that Maino would be a Fred. I think Maino has potential to be better than that, but you know what I mean. Enzo just signed a ridiculous deal with Chelsea. Sam Enzo, are we talking about Enzo Fernandez? Who's Sam Enzo? Am I like, are you saying same Enzo signed a ridiculous deal as well? I don't know. Or Sam Enzo. Is Sam Enzo someone? Who's Sam Enzo? Am I don't know who Sam Enzo is. Is he like someone from Qatar? I don't know. I'm just having a brainwave. I feel like I should know that, but I don't. The Casemiro isn't Spanish, but Casemiro can speak Spanish. So Casemiro is Brazilian, but because he spent so long at Real Madrid, he can speak Spanish. Casemiro talks to De Gea in Spanish. Casemiro speaks fluent Spanish, fluent Portuguese, and is learning English. He's got okay English, but he's not fluent. He wants to learn better English. That's what I'm saying. So if you do get someone from South America, even if they're not Brazilian and they're Spanish, Casemiro can guide them. Casemiro can guide any young Argentinian, Ecuadorian, Brazilian DM coming through as well. We should bring back Garner. I mean, Garner's not even playing at Everton. I think Garner should have waited it out. I think Garner should have seen how it had gone after one season under Ten Hag, because I think Garner would have got chances. I really do think Ten Hag would have given Garner a chance, but I think Garner thought he was going to go to Everton and just play a lot. And I generally think Garner would have got more game time if he'd gone to United, because at Everton they're not playing him at all. And I think, and to be fair to Garner, at Everton he's not playing at all because it's hard for him. If he's a young player that's not played in the Premier League, then he's going for a team that's absolutely playing shit. If he's gone to a team that's absolutely playing shit and he comes on, it's hard for him. If he gets moulded into this United team where he's got, you know, Casemiro next to him and he's got Lisandro Martinez and Varane behind him, it's a lot easier for him. I generally think James Garner should have just waited a year at United, but I get that he was desperate to play. And he wasn't guaranteed game time if he stayed at United as well. Portuguese and Spanish are very close in similarities. Apparently, I don't think they're 90% the same words, but I think they're ones that a lot of Portuguese people can speak Spanish. A lot of Spanish people can speak Portuguese. Apparently, English as a foreigner is the hardest language to learn, they say. But Bruno speaks fluent Spanish, English, Italian, and Portuguese. Yeah. Bruno can speak to everyone. I think Bruno's a real captain because he can literally speak to everyone. I think United is obviously the English is the most spoken language at United, but we have Fred, we've got Dalot, we've got, you know, Bruno, we've got Anthony, we've got a lot of Brazilians, we've got Casemiro as well. You know, Portuguese is the second. Portuguese and Spanish are the second and third most spoken languages at United. And when you've got Bruno that can speak Portuguese, Spanish, and English, which are the three languages that everyone in the squad can speak, one of those three languages, and Martial can speak French, but he knows a bit of English. You know, it's good because, you know, Varane can speak fluent English and Spanish. And I think that's why Bruno's a captain, because Maguire can't speak in Spanish to Martinez if he's playing with Martinez, and he can't speak in Portuguese to Dalot, and Bruno can. Bruno can speak to everyone on the pitch, and that I think Bruno's the most liked guy in that United squad. I think Bruno's the most popular guy in that United dressing room because he can literally talk to everyone. I think they all love Bruno at United. I think, you know, they really like Bruno as a captain. You can tell. I think Bruno's a very popular guy at United, and I think Bruno is captain. I think, you know, Lisandro Martinez got that captain in him. Casemiro's got that captain in him, but they've only just come here. I think Bruno's a real captain. Bruno gives me that Roy Keane vibe, but I think Bruno, and it sounds weird, but the fact that he can speak and communicate with everyone, the fact that he, you know, he gets on with Ten Hag, I think Bruno is a proper captain as well. Alice, is it true that a Qatar journalist said that the deal's done and they will get Man United before 30th of March? They didn't say it's a done deal. They responded to a tweet saying that the Glazers will stay, saying no, Qatar, see you 30th of March. They're basically saying with strong confidence they believe that Qatar will be a done deal by the 30th of March. They're not saying it's a done deal, but the Qatari journalists are saying with a bit of confidence they believe this Qatar thing will be a done deal by the 30th of March as well. Obviously, De Gea is negotiating his new contract as well. people doing their combined Liverpool United 11. I mean, how the Varane, the hate to Varane. The Man United combined Liverpool 11 is Alisson, Trent, Varane, Lissandro, Shaw. Probably at the moment Bruno, Casemiro, Eriksen, because Liverpool's midfield has been absolutely atrocious. But Thiago's better than Eriksen on his day. Salah, Martial's been shit this season. Probably put Nunes in and Rashford, if I'm being honest. But I mean, I'll be honest, like Van Dijk's a great player, but he's been shit this season. If you're going off this season, you go with Martinez and Varane. I mean, how can you put Robertson in over Shaw? How can you put Robertson in over Shaw? As you can tell, Liverpool fans done this. Liverpool fans done this as well. But I'm just seeing. I'm just looking in case any news has come out because I don't want to go. I don't want to end the live stream in case that any breaking news has come out. So just seeing if anything has come out before I do wrap up the live stream as well. But it doesn't look like any breaking news has come out. Just news about people talking about Declan Rice. More opinion based today. Gary Neville says the 3 most important players are Casemiro, Rashford, De Gea, Varane. In my opinion, it's Casemiro, then it's Rashford, and then it's Lissandro Martinez or Varane. I think De Gea's maybe 5th because I don't know how good Tom Eaton ain't great, but yeah. Our back four's better than Liverpool this season. Yeah, our back four's been solid since Brentford. We ain't conceded many goals. I believe Qatar journalists rather than ours. I don't know how reliable Qatar journalists are. Like I know which British journalists are good and shit, but I can't tell you if this Qatar journalist who's saying with confidence Qatar will get United is good or shit. I wish I could tell you if he was good or shit, but I generally don't know. Like my knowledge on Qatar journalists ain't great. But Qatar's a small country. They all probably know each other. And if these are Qatar journalists with 500,000 followers, I'd assume he's pretty credible. But as I said, Alice, believe it or not, doesn't know a lot about Qatar journalism sources. So yeah, I couldn't tell you much. We are on 58,680 subscribers, 20 subscribers away from 58.7k. So please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. It'd be very much appreciated. I go live every single evening on the channel, keeping you guys up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, and more. Van Dijk has been absolutely rubbish this season, hasn't he, as well? And listen, hear me out, Alice. We all know massive South American players have been in our team. We suddenly have that passion we've never had. If Qatar would, I'd go all out for Enzo Fernandez and Casemiro. I mean, I would have loved Enzo Fernandez, but he's gone to Chelsea. But I have to say, I love the South American passion in the team. I agree. And as Daniel says, keep smashing the like button. But people, I'm going to wrap up today's live stream here. I want to big up everybody for coming into today's live show. It's been a really good live show. Some really good comments in the chat talking about stuff going on. I might be live tomorrow evening, depending on the news. There will be a video around 11 a.m. tomorrow on just United stuff. There's some really cool stories. Fred's come out and spoken about how Casemiro's changed things about the dressing room that I'm going to talk about in tomorrow morning's video, most likely. So subscribe for tomorrow morning's video. We've got some interesting stories, and if there's any news, I'll include that in tomorrow morning's video. And then obviously tonight, I'll probably do a bit of a live stream as well. And Alice's Klopp actually scared of Ten Hag. He's threatened. He's being all bitter about United. And I think when they start being bitter about United, they're scared. But smash a like, smash a subscribe. See you next time. Bye.